Welcome back to Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel, and today we are out in the woods, starting off the year 2025 the way a year should always be started, so by going outdoors and spending the night here. Unfortunately, we hit a bit of a snag, so as you might be able to tell, we are in a very bad environment to go with skis as well as Ahkio. There has been a lot of trees cut down. Of course, I didn't know that because this is a new area for me. And kind of the main thing why I am here is the fact that that was supposed to be, or I thought it would be, some kind of a bog or a mire. And we could have just blasted through that with high speed with the dog. Already, well, it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so that means we have maybe 2-3 hours of sunlight left. I just figured that I will not try to find a better place for us to camp. There's some type of a clearing there, and also behind me, before the bedrock, there's something over there as well. So I think I'll go check that out, and hopefully there's some kind of a spot where we can set up the hot tent and fire up the old stove and have a good drink, because this is a horrible terrain to be on with skis and Ahkio. So, but thanks for joining in, and let's see. I'll bring you guys back when I find a good place for the tent. The sheer size of this thing still surprises me every time I unfold the tent. And I knew that most likely there wouldn't be enough snow over here for snow anchors, so I took normal stakes, but at the same time I figured the ground might be frozen as well. So I brought some tools with me. This is an old school Fiskars axe, which has seen better days, but it's the only small axe that I have, and this isn't the bushcraft channel, so it is completely okay that the handle isn't made out of wood. But now I have a little mallet with me, and I can also, of course, use this to process some firewood that I have. Of course, the upside of having a shelter this big is that the ground doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, because I'm here just by myself, and of course the dog doesn't take that much space. So even though you can see the ground is higher up there, over there, some kind of hay or something over there, there's almost a bit of a path going through here. But it doesn't matter. Stove will sit right there on the kind of this natural trail, so that's good. I have my kind of bedding area over there, plenty of room for the dog and the gear, so looks to be pretty solid. Oh yeah, nice and tight. I'm not going to attach the extra guy lines up here. I'm not expecting any wind whatsoever, and this place is quite sheltered from 3 sides. Of course, there's a bit of an opening there, but even there, there's that uphill blocking any sorts of wind. So all in all, quite sheltered spot. Any heat rising from the chimney shouldn't melt big blocks of snow on top of the shelter, and of course there's no danger of any dead hang or anything like that. Widowmakers dropping on top of me. In terms of how cold it is, well, it was -17 this morning, but it is getting warmer by the hour, and right now it's maybe -7 or 8 anymore, so not cold at all, especially since there's no wind whatsoever. And I'm actually quite minimalist in my setup this time, or in my gear. This is of course winter camping, so you know, a full duffel bag is required. But I don't have, for example, the full Trangia set with me because, as I said, I figured there won't be a lot of snow over here, so I instead packed quite a bit of water with me, so I don't have to try to scrape this little snow what is on the ground and try to boil that for myself. So should make things a bit easier. And yeah, because it is that warm, I'm not in a rush for setting up the stove and heating up the tent either. So all in all, quite chill conditions for winter camping. I'm just processing some kindling and stuff over here, and I figured I'd show you a quick tip. If you have something like this, you don't need to bother with making some feather sticks. Instead, you can just twist. See that? That's all good to go. Rokka is here, settling in. I have my firewood ready. I can fire up the stove whenever I want, but I figured that since it isn't dark yet, I think I'll just lay back and not take a nap, but just relax a bit and keep the doors open, or at least one door, and just relax a bit. When it starts getting a bit darker, then let's heat up the hot tent and have something to drink and something to eat later on. But for now, I think I'm just going to enjoy what I have. I realized I probably didn't mention why I think it's good that the stove sits on this natural trail or a depression on the ground, which isn't super visible right now. But anyway, the simple reason being that once the snow starts to melt, it doesn't go up here or up there towards where Rokka sleeps, and instead probably collects just about here. Well, that was fast. I really wasn't supposed to boil this water, but oh well. Not yet anyways. It starts to also get quite warm, quite fast, which is nice. Of course, this tent or the stove, neither one of those really retain much of heat, so tent stays warm precisely as long as there's firewood burning there. But when there is wood burning, this tent also gets really warm really fast. I'm having just some cocoa drink powder. Actually, let's make it a double to celebrate the first overnight adventure of this year. I made a low light preset for the camera, but I'm not super convinced, so maybe I'll just fire that up if it helps at all. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys that I've been now testing throughout this winter and will continue to test out Nitecore's new Summit series power bank. It's a pretty cool little power bank. This one is in 10,000 milliamp hours. And the reason why I'm testing it now during this winter is because operating temperature for this one is down to -40 degrees. As for the kind of the surrounding, the ambient temperatures. And this thing can heat up, well, heat itself. That's quite neat, so I'll just throw it there on the snow and start charging my phone. Really, this is all the electronics I have, besides the camera, of course. So 2 charging cables, the power bank, and the little lantern up there. The heating mode should start automatically if the thing recognizes that. Of course, classic iPhone, liquid detected. So no charging that device then. I guess I'll continue testing then tomorrow. In Finnish we have a term or saying called kamina mansikkana, which basically means that the tent stove is glowing as red as a strawberry. Unfortunately, my camera just refuses to focus on it, but I think you'll get the gist of it. I opened up all the stove intakes so I can get some water boiling sooner rather than later. And once that is done, then I will close this up again so the stove wouldn't glow like a strawberry all night long. And the reason why I'm boiling water is because it is dinner time. And I'm actually now testing for the first time Kuivalihakundi's new outdoor meals. So, as you guys know, Kuivalihakundi or rough cut beef jerky has been a long time supporter of the channel, which I'm very grateful, of course. But I actually bought this one with my own money because I wanted to test this out. Essentially, this is just rice and beef jerky and seasoning. So, long-time viewers know, so pretty much what I've been doing with outdoor meals anyway. I've always just added Kuivalihakundi's beef jerky to all of the meals to make them a bit bigger, but this one has beef jerky already in it, so I'm not going to add anything. I just wanted to test it out. Roughly 500 calories with 21 grams of protein, and as far as I can tell, not really anything nasty in terms of ingredients. Mostly just seasoning, rice noodles, beef jerky, soy sauce. That's it. Okay, this is the lowest brightness. Let's see. I'm a wizard. Okay, I might have... well, there goes that. I might have kept this bag actually on top of the snow, but it still does feel quite warm, hot even. Yep. Smells really, really good. Certainly it doesn't taste like any other outdoor meal I've had. I think I'm tasting maybe bell pepper, other seasoning like that. Good sized chunks. I wish the beef would be in a bit bigger chunks actually, but probably that's why this only takes, what, 1.5 deciliters of water. But at least there's something to chew on, and that's more than can be said about many outdoor meals. Let's go for a post-meal stroll. It's always good to stretch your legs a bit after having dinner. There you go. Yep. It is getting dark, all right. I know it's probably just around 5 degrees outside, but it feels a lot colder after stepping out of the tent. I think it looks even bigger now when it's dark, funnily enough. But just good for the two of us. That's it. Those were the final larger pieces of firewood that I had. To be honest, they lasted quite a while. As long as I hoped, in fact. I've been just reading a book here and enjoying the warmth of the stove, and now that I put the final pieces in, it means the warmth will soon be gone, so it is time to crawl inside the sleeping bag. Call it a night. I have tomorrow morning's firewood already here in front of the stove, so it dries up a bit at least. Maybe not. And that should make it easy for tomorrow morning then get the fire going, so we can have some breakfast. And obviously I want to burn every single piece of firewood I have here. No point of taking that back home. And it does make a big difference then in the morning if I can dry the tent a bit before packing it, for sure. But that's for tomorrow. Huomenta, rakka. Now this works as well. You see that red LED? It means that the power pack is automatically heating up itself. And also this pouch is line fit, some sort of reflective material, aluminum foil type of thing to retain the heat a bit better. Let's give it a shot and see how long it takes to charge up the phone. And get some breakfast and coffee. So I have, of course, my oatmeal, and nothing but oatmeal this time. this bag because I found one of these old and probably expired 511 Energy for the Frontline pouches. Chocolate and coconut flavor. 500 calories in this one pouch. And if I recall correctly, this also tastes very nice. Where maybe a one-off run during the plague years. Maybe something like that. Just a tad more. Yep. I think I calculated the amount of firewood I need about perfectly. I'll throw these bigger pieces in and I'll get my coffee done. And actually, looking around, it seems that the condensation that was frozen over has now melted, but not evaporated. Probably my biggest gripe regarding this tent is the fact that there's only one vent up there, not two. This would definitely, a shelter this size would require two, especially if there would be more people inside. And they're so massive, like storm flaps over the vent as well, that the actual area where airflow is supposed to happen and go through is surprisingly small considering the size of the tent. So definitely would require another vent. But that's just the life in a single wall shelter. Not bad, quite sweet. Looks like the sun is rising finally as well. I did sleep quite long. It's now 9 o'clock and we're getting some daylight. Looks like pretty rapid charging. But of course, inside a hot tent, it's not really an extreme environment for this. But seems to be roughly what I've seen during this winter. Not bad, not bad. Although, in my mind, the bigger 20,000 milliamp hour version would make more sense, because during winter time, batteries drain faster on your devices, phones or camera or whatnot. So you need that extra capacity, whereas this 10,000 is all right for summer uses, you know, for my uses, backpacking and so forth. But in terms of the tech that's within this power bank, it's nice to see that there's some innovation in this area. But this is not a full review, that happens then later. And sounds like my final pieces of firewood have been all but burned, and you wouldn't believe, if you haven't hot tented it before, how quickly the tent turns cold once the wood stops burning. I can already feel the cold seeping in. The most important meal of the day. Morning coffee. It's also very quiet when the stove dies down. Couple of birds outside, but nothing else going on. For the past couple of years, I've brought, I think always with me on these winter trips, also a basic kind of these cell phone sleeping pads. Not because of the additional insulation value, although that is helpful, especially when it's actually cold, but it just gives me a nice dry surface to pack my things, whether I'm lean-to or tarp camping or hot tenting. always nice to have something dry to sit on during this phase. Okay, I think we are ready to get moving. I placed the shelter there to the front area of the Ahkio where my firewood used to be, to balance things out a bit, as well as the stove, of course. So, time to put on the skis, and I'm thinking about jumping over to that side because it looks a bit easier to traverse. So I will go through there, that direction. I looked at the map and some satellite images as well, and figured that might give me a solid 500 meters or something easier going before I have to jump back into these woods. And I'll just hope that the situation is a bit better further down there, because I came from that direction, so I don't know. So I'm doing a bit of a loop back to where I started to see if it's any better than that direction. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see soon enough. Yep. At least the first decision seems to be paying off. Let's need to find the easiest way to move forward. Takka, vasen. Tänne. Hyvä. Certainly not straightforward, but better than over there. But I think I'll continue skiing and enjoying the little sunlight that we have. Looks to be a nice winter day coming up. Thanks for joining in. You'll be watching Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel. This has been, of course, Rokka, the Alaskan Malamute, who probably enjoys winter even more than I do. And we will see you all in the next one. Bye.